And I would love to hear what's the best thing that's happened to your Pampered Chef business in this past week. And who would like to go first?
I will go first.
Okay.
Ooh,
So this past week, I have added 10 new people to my VIP group.
Oh, that's awesome.
yay.
Yay.
That's
I'm very excited about that.
that is really exciting. More contacts. That's great. And who would like to go next?
I have a fundraiser and a bridal shower that's going to start tomorrow.
Both of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, excellent. That's great news. And who wants to go next, Bonnie or Lynn?
I'm trying to think.
Oh, I know that you've got lots good going on.
Um, I did get 3 bookings last week.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we'll say that.
Okay. And how about you, Bonnie?
I'm thinking. Um, I was able to get some terrific ideas for demonstrations and things like that this week.
Oh, good, good. Demo ideas. Love it. Anybody excited to see Doris tonight?
Yes.
Always.
Very.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen her do anything before, Connie?
No, so I'm so excited.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Well, love Doris. Love Doris. So, uh, all right. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about getting the squeeze out of us, getting the squeeze. And, um, we've talked before about, building good habits and, working smarter, not harder. And I think that getting the squeeze out of any situation goes right along with that. Have you ever considered that? Um, have you ever thought about, evaluating it like a party or a situation and thinking, what could I have done differently to affect the outcome?
Mhm.
And what situation comes to mind first, Connie?
Well, that's exactly how, I never really kind of put this together until you said but that's exactly how I've actually always been trained, was to when you need a different outcome, like in everywhere that I've worked, where you stop, look, reevaluate, and think what you could have done differently to handle the situation different. If you got to a barrier, what could you have done to prevent that barrier in the first place, or to overcome that barrier once you got to it differently than you did the last time? What you did the last time didn't work. How could you fix it?
Okay,
Um, and we would do like a brainstorm sheet.
love that.
Um,
That's great training.
so it's raining outside my window.
Oh, well,
So yeah, we would do like a brainstorm sheet. This is the situation, this is how I handled it, this was how I could have handled it. And you'd
okay,
have like 3 different sections.
okay. And it sounds like you're pretty matter of fact over it. It wasn't like you beat yourself up over it.
No, no, it was, and that's exactly what it was. It wasn't to beat yourself up, it was to help you just take a look at yourself. It was called a
Okay,
reflection of the manager.
reflection. Love that.
Because I was a manager in multiple businesses, and that was all it was. It was just reflecting on you and how you personally felt that you could have done it differently.
Excellent. Love that. Love that. Anyone else would have you ever, can you think of a situation that you think, oh, I wish I would have done that differently or said something differently? Because I think we all have.
Yeah, with every party.
Mm-hmm.
Every party?
Always tweaking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That post didn't get
Hmm.
any interaction, so let's tweak it.
Okay.
Or
All right.
yeah.
Okay. Excellent. How about you, Kathy?
Yes, in fact, I've been wanting to learn how to do the Google form that you can have everybody fill out kind of as a review of the party. I don't know how to do that though.
You know
So-
what? There's actually a video in Joe Pack, and it's quite old.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tag you in it, Kathy.
Thank
Me
you.
too, please.
Okay, it is so easy. It's so much easier than you think it is. Lindsay,
Okay.
do you use a Google form in your parties?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you
Okay.
do it at the end, Lynn?
Towards the end, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I do.
That would
My
be
parties-
helpful.
yeah,
Yeah,
my parties end on Sunday. I think I posted on Thursday or Friday.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know that would be helpful.
Oh, sure, sure. Bonnie, can you think of a situation that you wish you would have handled differently or said something different?
The one that pops to mind is a show I did many years ago, and one of the women commented on how poorly it was, how poor I was doing. And you know me, I don't say much.
Yeah,
And I felt bad about that, but it's just the way the show was going.
yeah. Well, I mean, and you could be the ripest peach on a tree. And if they don't like peaches, they're not going to like you. You know, I mean, that's just all there is to it. And there's nothing, and we all have that, Bonnie. We all have that. And,
Mhm.
you know, the thing about my personality is, I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't things I remember. I remember that that stung, but for the most part, I can let those things go, because, anyway, everybody has an opinion, and I'll put it nicely. So, but yeah, but I mean, I think that when we do some introspection ourselves, and I do think that we can look at a situation where something really stings, and I mean really stings, and you have to kind of think about, is there something that I can take? Is there a gift in this that I need to see? And take that and then let the rest of it blow away like sand, because sometimes the things we hear that hurt us, that hit us the hardest, may be something we need to hear. And that's why sometimes the hardest part of our business is that it is a people business. That's the hard part. And often people hurt people, and hurt people hurt people. But there are times when it's good to hear some. There are people out there that use a Google form and ask, how did I do? What can I do differently? And
Mhm.
that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage.
But constructive criticism is not always a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And
Mhm.
if you can take it in its
Mhm.
context there,
Mhm.
and I think generally speaking, I think that most people have a hard time
Mhm.
taking constructive. I take constructive criticism well from people I think who are doing something better than me.
Mhm.
I am not going to take somebody that's complaining about bookings and take any advice from them about bookings, if that makes sense. But I also think that and nobody's talked about recruiting and nobody's talked about leadership, but this is where a lot of times when I first when I wanted to be a better recruiter, I found that you know finding how other people responded were helpful to me. And because what happens is you find that you're getting the same questions, you're getting the same objections, you're getting the same context over and over again. And once you get better at it, it becomes a lot easier. And when you don't take it personally, when you don't take personally that someone's telling you no, or that someone signs up and does crap, I mean, you can't take that personally. And that is so true with really most of those things. But there are things that we can do, and that brings me to talking a little bit about some ideas. And I'm going to tell you that I brought, I came up with some ideas, but I'm hoping to get more ideas from you. So I'm going to share my screen here. And hopefully you see, I'm gonna make this bigger if I can. And here we go. Here we go. Okay. You see getting the squeeze out of most situations or out of a situation, you can see that, right? Okay. We all are familiar with our host program, right? All right. And
Yes.
all of these rewards that we offer are not anything we would not tell our host about, would we? And so now I'm going to bring your attention to the new consultant kit credit. Do you discuss this with your host? And by saying the word discuss, I mean, do you just throw it out there? I mean, maybe you don't even throw it out there. I mean, that would be first step. Then do you throw it out there? Or do you do a private message to let them know, or do you realize that we offer the new consultant kit credit? Have you ever considered becoming a consultant? And, this is something I think that you can bring up at the beginning of a party, because this is when, if you're sensing any interest at all at the beginning of the party, once, you can flip a party over to them. Does everyone understand what I mean about flipping a party? If
Yeah.
they decide to
Yeah.
become a consultant, you can make that party for them. You can let them be the consultant. And often that is an incentive for them. And I won't go too far into that. Just know that that can happen. And if you need help and you know how to take the step, you need to know the steps to do that, just let me know. But it is really easy to flip. So is the new consultant kit credit part of your host coaching? I'm not hearing any yeses.
It is
It
not.
should be.
It should
Yeah,
be.
it's a part of my host coaching messages.
Okay, good. And so, and when I say the word kind of throw it out there, to me, and when I say something like that, I mean, like, we post something on Facebook, like, okay, I'm having a shared rewards party. And first of all, they may not know what shared rewards is. They may not understand the vernacular. So what happens, they just pass it by. They're like, well, I don't know what that is. And they don't take the time to ask, or they don't think to ask, or they don't care to ask. Or, or any other kind of an offer. And what the point is, that's being very passive. You're just throwing it out there and seeing if any spaghetti hits the wall. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is when you're backing up that. Did you see my message about shared rewards party? Did you see my message about, what do you think about using part of your host credit to order a kit? This month you could get it for 25% off, which is really nice, kind of thing. That opens up that door. So anyway, that's just kind of food for thought. That's the first squeeze that I want to mention. We would not think of not telling them about the half price items. Whatever their half price item is that they want, whether it's the food shopper or, or the air fryer for half price. Stop it. Or the air fryer for half price. You wouldn't not tell them about that, would you?
No, we would definitely tell them. So we need to share about being a consultant too.
Well, and I mean, it's a benefit. They can decide. I mean, they
Mhm.
don't have to take their half price items if they don't want to.
But we need to offer it and
Exactly.
point it out to them and bring it to their attention.
Correct. And that's the thing to remember, that our job is booking, sales, and recruiting, and so often we neglect recruiting. And Pampered Chef offers it right here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about, again, the credit. $200 creates a party. $300 is when they start to get some free credit. Now, I will mention while we're on it that when you have a $200 party, like I had five, well, I shouldn't say this. I had 5 $200 parties last week, because a lot of people wanted to get that stone for free. And even though they really didn't earn anything, I put in host credit for them. They may not even know it. And now, I might pique their interest, at times, and see if they're interested in knowing that within 6 months, they can use that $25 kit credit should they decide to sign up. Does that make sense?
So you put that in there whether or not they totally agreed to being a consultant or
And
not?
yeah, because they don't know, number one. Number two
Hmm.
is they're not getting anything anyway. They're at least they're getting something,
True.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
But but I will also say, I have mentioned it to them to say, you know what, you have this benefit. I'm going to go ahead and put it in your cart, knowing that within 6 months, if you change your mind, it's here for you to use. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
No, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about. I'm clicking all over the place here. No, there are just sometimes that I don't know why. Okay. 2 different parties for the host. Now, for instance, last week is unusual. My show average is usually quite a bit higher than $200, but I was happy to get those parties to get my January going and also to give them the heart stone that I know they'll be thrilled with. But at a $200 party, as we mentioned, they get no free product. They do get the $25 kit credit. They get one item at half price and 10% off of everything else. All right. Hi, Dawn. Glad you could join us.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Oh, no, we're glad you're here. And
We got snow.
Do you have snow?
Yes, snowing like crazy and the ground's covered.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. I have none yet. Okay. All right. At a $700 party, they get $140 in free. They get a $50 kit credit. They get 4 items at 50% off, and then they get 30% off of everything else. Tell me what is different for you as the consultant to hold a $200 party or a $700 party?
Mission.
A huge difference.
Okay, right. And I'm talking about the work to get it done.
Won't believe how
Oh, as far as how much work it takes,
Correct.
you're doing the same amount of work.
Yes, and we probably should condition that if you're host coaching, if your host coaching, if your host coaching is up to snuff, I'm just going to put it like that. Would you agree with me, Dawn?
Yes.
Definitely.
All right. So, would you say that you're getting more squeeze out of a $700 party than you are a $200 party?
Yeah, and most importantly, you're also getting a happy host,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is going to build your business.
Right. And we're going to talk about that, but absolutely. So the point here is what we're going to talk about some of the things to help, bring your average, and we're just going to consider that maybe your average is 200 or 300 or 400, and maybe you want to double it to whatever it is. These techniques are going to help you, get to $1,000 parties too. But I just want to make the point here that when you learn to sharpen the saw by having better habits about, knowing what to do for great host coaching, it's worth the squeeze. It's worth your, taking the steps to be more effective with your host coaching and building that relationship. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's go on here. Now it is, like Bonnie said, the commission is different. At a $200 party, you're going to make at 20%, you're going to make $40. I'm sorry, I didn't change the percentages. 20, 22, and up to 25%. Okay, I will change those. You're going to make more as your monthly sales increases and the party increases. And Dawn, you're just a really great example of this that most people wouldn't see, because for being an elite seller, you're already automatically adding 2%, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And also I'm not sure, most of you, I think Connie, maybe you're not at the 15,000 in career sales yet, are you? Okay. You know what that means, right? Let me explain it in terms of the video. When you reach 15,000 in career sales, you get a 2% increase from 20% basic to 22%. What that really is a 10% raise. And I really want you to think about how often you give your, how often in life do you get a 10% raise? I mean, if you've worked a full-time job before, what is the usual percentage of a raise you get? And Kathy, I think we talked about this not too long ago. What was the percentage of the last raise you got?
I think it was, I want to say it was 5%, something like that.
Which is really
And
good.
I'd say that was a pretty big one.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was
I'd say
good.
2 to 3% would be.
It was good. 2% came from the state, but then our particular school board gave us an additional 5%. So maybe it was like 7.5, something like that.
Well, that's really good. I
Yeah.
remember when I worked, I worked at a grocery store for 16 years. And back then, and I think, I don't remember how much I was making at this time, but I was making really good money back then. And we got a 25% an hour raise.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at that time, gosh, I think you guys need this more than I do. But again, with our business, the sky is the limit. And knowing that you can give yourself a 10% raise. It's also an incentive for you to always make sure you're watching your career sales and that you're submitting at least $150 every other month. Okay. If you don't submit $150 every other month, you lose your career sales and you start back at zero. So, any comments or questions about that? Okay. So you can make an extra $100 to $125 minimum per party by increasing your party stats. So for 4 parties a month, that is, that's 700. That when you're going to $700, that's a whopping $672 for you, which is 24% of 2,800 in sales. 4 parties a month that are 200 in sales is 100 for you, and that's 20% at 800, and then all these numbers are showing without your commission in your career sales. Now, does that make sense to you? I mean, again, if you can go from every time you're doing a party from $40 in commission to 175, that's pretty. It's pretty. I mean, would that make you happy?
Very.
Okay. So I just want everyone to realize that the money does make a difference. And it's okay. It's okay that the money does make a difference, right? I want everybody to be okay with that. The same amount of effort and time. So isn't it worth the squeeze? And I think we've agreed that that is. The important thing is, and while we're talking, it's really important to me that you are saying to yourself, and you're the only one that's going to know this, that if you think that host coaching is hard, if you think it's hard to ask your host to invite 150 people, I'm going to ask you to really soul search why you find that to be true. Because if you think that that is unrealistic to ask your host to do, you're not going to find the squeeze worth it for you until you accept that. All right. Your host may think a 200 party is great because they don't know any better. But it's up to you to set the tone. For me, for a long time, when I was doing a lot of live parties, before COVID, I would tell people that my average party was $700 because I didn't want them to think that anything under 700 was really, I mean, who wants to be under average?
Mm-hmm.
You set the tone. Now it's really 1,000. Almost every party needs to be 1,000. So more parties and increasing your party average results in a higher commission rate for you. You'll get to 25% much faster when you boost your expectations. All right. Also, what happens is you're reaching your monthly, you're getting a bigger percentage because you're doing more a month in sales. You're also accruing your points for your incentive trip. And you're double dipping. You're double dipping in a lot of different ways. You're double dipping with your incentive trip. You're double dipping with more commission. You're double dipping for the consultant monthly bonus. and any other little things that Pampered Chef has going on. And if you're a new consultant right now, you're double dipping to get the blender, and you're double dipping to get the, you know, the perks that they have for new consultants. And then if you're a director, think of how much faster you'll reach your team goals. All right, if you're building Haisugi, if you're building it's okay, if you are in Pampered Chef for the long haul, when you have built good habits that you can train your team with, you're only going to be building, you're going to have a stronger business personally, but you're going to be building a stronger business for your new consultants, which makes for a stronger team. You know, if someone wants, if somebody is happy with a $200 show average, you know, that's up to them. If they want to learn more, we're here to help them. But most people are going to be much happier when their sales are 700. So more great parties and less crummy parties. That's what we're going after here. You're going to obtain the monthly consultant gift. You're going to build your career sales. You're going to get more incentive points. And if it matters to your host, it matters to you. Because if your host is getting more free product, they're happier, right? Like Gail said. And when your host is happy, they will tell their friends. And that word of mouth is really what fuels our business, wouldn't you say? If your host is happy and your show is going well, when you ask her to post about bookings, she's going to likely do it. All right. It's all about that culture, all about that, your attitude, all about how you're expecting to get the most you can because you're a professional person. All right. Now let's talk about some of the things that helps you squeeze the lemon. And this is not an exhaustive list. In fact, if you do anything other than this, I would love to hear it. For those of us that do virtual parties, most of us now are using Facebook as a gateway, and we're using the table party link as the shopping and browse link, so that people are funneling through the table. Because in the table, they're getting more meat, they're getting more recipes, they're getting more demos. If they care to look, you're gonna be leading them. And in the beginning, you may not, get many people looking at that. But the more you do, the more you get in there, the more likely they are to look. And of course, you're going to be sharing with them. So to start out, you want 150 people invited. How many friends do most people have on Facebook? Have you ever taken the time to look at that? How many friends do you have on Facebook? Anybody know?
225.
I'm sorry, Connie, what'd you say?
Like 225.
Okay, all right. So really, I mean, you could invite 150 people to a party. You could. Anybody else know Kathy, how many friends do you have on Facebook? Do you know?
3,600.
Okay. So you could come up with 150 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want, this is kind of a little bit of a side shot here. If I said to you, and we talk about this, if you want to build your business and you reach out to 10 to 30 people a day, take how many Facebook friends you have and divide it by that number. So for Kathy, you have 30 days of 100 people to contact. Connie, you have 12 days. All right. So, and why wouldn't you ask any of those people? And if you, and thinking about, before we had social media, what about all the people that aren't on Facebook? And a great thing, and I love to say this to my hosts, and especially to my new consultants, if you were putting on a wedding in your family, how many people do you usually invite to a wedding?
200, 300.
Okay. Why would you stop at 300? Why wouldn't you go to 500, Dawn?
Because it costs a lot of money.
I was about to say the amount of money it costs.
Thank goodness I have boys.
Yeah.
I have
Ridiculous.
girls.
Kathy's got the big girl.
Ridiculous how much weddings cost.
It
Oh yeah,
is.
here's Lynn's subject. I didn't even think about that. Excuse me.
Hannah's future mother-in-law kept telling her, "Oh, invite these people. They'll say no." And Hannah's getting mad because they're all saying yes.
Oh gosh.
And eating into
Oh,
her budget.
no.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But so the point is, we can invite people to a paper chuck party. We can invite 1,000 people. It doesn't matter because it doesn't cost anything. And that's what our hosts need to understand too. An invitation is gracious. You know, it's better to invite someone and have them say no to not invite them and have them feel left out, or maybe they would have said yes. Why were we deciding for them? Why do we decide anything for anybody else?
Right.
Why do we do that? All right, so 150 people invited. And our goal is to get 30 people in every party. I actually try for 50, especially if it's just a Facebook party. Anyone know why I say that?
Because half of the ones that join will participate and half of those will order.
And it's kind of like at a live party, you know, we would tell them to invite 40, 20 might say yeah, might respond. And then, you know, then 10 will show up that day and a couple people are going to end up sick or something's going to come up. And you might end up with 10 or 8 people there when you started, you know. And that's the picture you want to paint to your host. Because you are the expert and you know how these things go, right? Because people are saying this, you think you're going to say no, right, Lynn? and I think that this is a natural thing too. And I haven't said this in a long time to my new consultants because so often we don't ask people because we think they're going to say no. But it's interesting how many people you think will say no will say yes. And actually,
And vice versa.
exactly. And it's like your best friend that says no and you're crushed, which just happened to me with one of my new consultants. You know, but I think you also learn who your friends are, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, and Karen, do you remember that really good training? I can't remember their names, but their concept is go for no. Because if
Andrea
you
Havel?
know that it takes 10 no's to get to a yes, you start celebrating those no's instead of feeling that no is a letdown.
Yeah. Go for no. And so, all right. So yes, that's, you know, keep asking. That is such good training. You know what? I'm going to need to. I should find that video because I remember them speaking at conference and Richard, her husband.
It was a husband and wife.
Husband and wife, Richard and Andrea, I think are their names. I can't think of their last name. And I'm looking because I thought I might have their book on my.
I was gonna say I'm sure I have the book.
Book, but he talked a lot about how he was selling suits, and but he wasn't asking like, do you need a tie to go that? You know, he didn't keep asking. He didn't keep asking until the guy said no. And
remember what his boss told him? He said, you made the decision when they were through shopping.
Yes.
You did not let them make that decision for themselves.
Right. And that was so profound, wasn't it, Dawn? Look at you.
Yeah.
You even remember it. The goal is at least 10 or I'm so sorry. The goal is at least 10 or and then 20 people join the table link. We're finding when people join the table link, they're more likely to buy. Have you found that, Lynn?
Yeah. If there more people that are in table will buy than what are in Facebook.
Okay, okay. And then
Agreed.
yeah, and then 50 in the Facebook party. And especially when you're trying to build, you may not have, if you're doing 10 parties a week, virtual parties, you may not have time to message every single person. But when you're trying to build, I absolutely recommend that you message every single person. And that isn't a Facebook party. And I know it's easier really to do this or do reminders on Facebook party on your phone. But what happens is, and the reason I like to do the Facebook gateway, and I know that Lynn, we've talked about this on Tech Time, that because what the host is opening up their Rolodex to you, basically. And when they do that, you can contact them. Whereas, again, not everybody's going to join the table party, so you lose that. So again, you're just trying to, encounter more people with the Facebook gateway and people joining that way. That makes sense. Okay. Then message everything. Then changing the name of the party in the group, the Facebook group, brings attention to everyone in the group. And that's also true if you change the banner. And you could change the name of the party just by adding an exclamation point, or putting last day or 2 days left, for Lynn's party, that kind of thing. And then send Facebook reminders, as I just talked about. It's easier to do that on your phone. I don't like to use my phone that much, but I think that's one of the things that is a little bit easier on your phone, is to go into the members and see who's been invited and then remind them to join. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Tag again. I use the everyone tag. I don't think it works that well. The only ones that get tagged when you're in a group are the people you're friends with. Not everybody gets tagged with the everyone tag or the @ sign.
So what is highlight?
I think it's not much different than the everyone, Lynn.
Because
Highlight, everyone is in a group. And highlight is on your profile. That's the way somebody explained it to me.
Okay, because I've been trying to get it to work in a group and it didn't. And I wondered.
No,
Everyone is for a group, and highlight is just on your profile.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think highlight is probably more effective because everybody on your wall is, your friend.
Right.
But in a group, it's like in Team Halo, Connie might be on, Lynn might have invited Connie to be in Team Halo, but Connie wouldn't be my friend. So if I typed at everyone, Connie's not going to get my message, but Lynn is, because Lynn's my friend, my Facebook friend. Okay, so that's why it's important for leaders. If you have, it's really great when you add people to Team Halo, because if I'm going to recognize them, if they're not on, they're not going to see it. I think I've got 3,500 friends now, and 5,000 is the limit with Facebook. I can't be friends with everybody. So, but they can't, people can't follow and that kind of stuff. But anyway, but in terms of tagging, so you need to go in and tag everybody. And there's a couple easy ways to, one of the ways that I do that is with the welcome post in Facebook. I will do that. And then, of course, when you tag them, that only lasts for a week. So if your parties go beyond a week, you're going to lose the people that have joined more than a week ago. That makes sense. But you can go in and grab that list that you posted before and re-tag them. All right. So you can add people to that as time goes on. But again, if you're looking to build, you really need to take the time to tag everybody that the party is ending, or a gift or something like that. Liking does not mean a darn thing, you guys. Really, it doesn't. You've got to comment, engage, and send messages. A like from somebody else might open the door for you to communicate with them, but liking really doesn't do much. For me, like in Team Halo, usually when I like especially like for the hashtag, like if I like something, it's because I've already put them into the picker wheel. So that's how I know that I added them and I didn't forget them. So if I don't like it, I'm not proud, or it's not that I'm ignoring you or I'm not proud. It's that is my way of knowing. But of course, reply will make a big difference, and it helps the algorithm. Also, remember when you're inviting people in a group, which is why, and this is, and I didn't put this here, and this really is important. Facebook is changing all the time, and quite frankly, I'm not sure what works and what doesn't work these days, but a personal invite is always best. So you want to get your host to personally invite people by either email, by texting, or by private message. Because when you invite them in the Facebook group, like you go in, and there was a time, and I think that, if they're not inviting people, going in and inviting them into the Facebook group with the invite button is better than nothing. But what happens is if you invite 100 people and only 10 people join, Facebook is just saying, this person's a spammer. They're inviting people and they don't care. So that's why it's really important that when you do send out Facebook messaging for invites, that you go back in and you send Facebook reminders, because you want them to join, because it ups the algorithm of that party, of that group.
Should the host be sending the reminders?
That's probably the best thing. And there's also the thing about there's a lot of people, and I haven't heard about this lately now that I think about it. There was a while when consultants were making their host create the group.
Huh.
Because, again, they're inviting their friends. And I don't know if it makes a difference to make them an admin or not. It might.
They can tag at everyone if you make them an admin.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So that might be a step to add. That's a really great idea, Lynn.
I don't like making my host the admin, though.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why I don't, but I don't.
But I think this is something to really talk about. I mean, again, is it, and I don't mean this rudely, but is it irrational?
Could be.
Because, because, I mean, if you have a good reason, I get it. But if there's not a good reason, then why not do it? I mean, really, what can they hurt?
I think I listened to somebody else who said I don't like making my host the admin, so I kind of just
said I don't like it either.
Yeah.
But
It's like the ham.
With it.
That all those generations, they cut the end off the ham because that's what grandma did because her ham was big enough.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, I think that there are so many things in our life that sometimes we think something and we think, well, why is that? What is the rationale? So yeah.
Right.
So, but having the host send out the ordering link is very effective. And again, if their party sucks, ask them to send out the ordering link to 10 people that aren't in the party. I mean, that's a great way just to do a regular party. Just send out the link to 10 people. You never know what can happen from that. And have the host post on their Facebook wall. That's part of my host coaching too. And then post the final stats in the party. This is really interesting, and I think it's something to really think about. I will usually ask my host permission to share how she did with her party. And I also will post my commission. Or I don't post my commission. I post the commission well, I shouldn't say that. I will post my commission, and then I will say a new consultant, if you were starting a paper chip business, this would be your commission. I want them to kind of know the difference, and I don't want to lead them on to think they're going to make what I made. But I think that this is really important. Oh, by the way, I was going to say, I will ask my host permission, and then I try to remember to take the time to make a graphic, and I'll put in everything she got and say what she paid, what the party was, what she paid, and how much the commission, and then I post it, and it's just a great thing. Another thing that's not on here too. I see consultants do this all the time, and if I had more. This is where, again, this is not rational. If I only did 4 parties this month, I should be proud that I did 4 parties. But say I don't post like, okay, this is where all my hosts did. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Kathy, for having a party in the month of January. And there are some people that, post, these are my 1K hosts. I mean, again, it's just a way of recognizing the people that are supporting your business. And it always serves as an example. And when I send a congratulations card, I say, please take a picture of what you've earned with this and post it. Because what happens is you deserve that pat on the back. And second of all, you're showing your success, and it's publicity. It's free publicity for your business. All right. So it's all these things these little things can make a big difference. And there's probably a bunch of things we could add here. What do you think?
I used to see, I haven't seen it in a while, consultants would somehow have a paper copy of their check, and they would post that.
Well,
you can print that.
Yeah, you can screenshot it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can screenshot
But
it.
now, Karen, we're not supposed to do that anymore.
No, we're technically not supposed to. The Direct Selling Association doesn't want us to talk about our commissions. Now, I will do it. I mean, I especially will do it one-on-one. I don't blanket.
Once they sign and become a consultant, it's okay. But to get somebody to sign, they say that it is misleading, especially if I'm sharing my paycheck.
Right.
Because a new consultant is not going to come in and make what I make. And
Right.
I'm leading them to think
that they are.
Yeah. Even though that would not be my intention,
Of course.
they can't control what everybody's intention is. So I think that's why that was put into place. Don't you, Karen?
Right. It is. And again,
I've never done it, but I've seen it.
Okay. I would never turn anybody in for that.
Right.
Again, I will say one-on-one. When I send my host to my message, you know how you go into the party and you do your wrap-up message and tell, you got this much for free. I always change at the end, where it says, join my team or be a consultant, whatever it is. And I do say, I made what, and if this was your first party, you would make this much.
And honestly, I think that's okay, because other than that, your 2% at 15,000, you're making the same commission on that party as a new consultant would. But it's the showing the whole paycheck that shows overrides. That's the part that I think you have to be careful with.
But if I'm at 29%, I will say 29%. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm usually, usually at that, I will say 29%, whereas they would only.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that's a gift. I think it's the whole paycheck because
there are times when I have the saying that it's better, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Pampered Chef is not going to fire you. They're going to say, don't do it again. All right.
I hear that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we're getting long here. This is just an idea of a bingo you can do for your host, and give them, and you could do a gift for the whole month, and put tickets in, put their name with different things.
So post that on Halo.
Yeah,
I will do that.
yes, please.
And then I just wanted to kind of go up with, end with these thoughts. Use Table Link as your shopping link. Project Broadcast is truly a lifesaver. If you want to do 5,000 a week, did I say week? I meant month. That was Freudian. If you want to do 5,000 a month in sales, you're already or are already doing 5,000 in sales, you need that tool to make you more effective. I recommend it highly. And Lynn, you have been building so nicely with Project Broadcast. Your business is just growing and growing and growing, and I think you found that to be a fabulous tool for you.
Oh, I couldn't do it without it.
You're going to use Blast to automate order thank yous, mystery host rewards, bookings, host coaching, however you want to communicate with your hosts and guests. And table contacts are automatically loaded, which is really nice too when you're using Project.
But you do have to be sure you're linked.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hi, Bonnie. Just saw you come. I don't know how long you've been on, but glad you're here. So anyway, in a nutshell, you guys, that's a little bit about how to squeeze more out of your party. And that's where we try in our training and when we do team time is to give you ideas that will help you there. And if you need help at any specific thing, maybe we should target host coaching a little bit more. And again, which is going to be different for Dawn, who's doing most live parties than automated. Although really, host coaching is host coaching.
And honestly, I think host coaching is getting your host excited.
Mhm.
When you get them excited, then they want to
Mhm.
just invite their friends. They want other people to be a part of it. So it doesn't matter what kind of party you're doing. If that's your goal, is to get your host excited and to become a partner
Yeah.
with you.
But it's little tricks like John, like I know a couple of things that you do. You do an image, you do an image for them to text out to their customers. You don't do physical invitations anymore. And then what she does is she gives them, just before the party, she tells them what the menu is going to be to remind them. Send this out to remind your host and then tells them what they're making for the party. So again, it's those little tweaks that can make a huge difference. And when you look at it outside, it looks like it might be a big deal, but really it just takes a couple of seconds, and it takes the seconds it takes to do it. So it's just a series of those things. And what I love about Project Broadcast and automating that is that it breaks it down into small tasks. And like in Tech Time, I really liked Paula keeps things simple, so I was really interested to see her Project Broadcast. And I know she's a heavy hitter in virtual parties, again, and I'll just use that as an example. I look at people who are a heavy hitter in virtual parties, and I would like to be a bigger hitter in virtual parties. So I'm going to target people that are doing $10,000 a month in virtual parties. If I want to be better at doing live parties, I'm going to target Dawn Ferreira because she's doing $10,000 at least a month in live parties. So you're going to go to an expert for your information. Anyway, that's how to get more squeeze. I'm so happy you did this. I hope, bless you, sweetie.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I hope that you got a tip or something out tonight that will help you. We're almost right at 8:00. Anybody have to run and get a drinky poo before we go check in with Doris?
Yes. Make sure I don't have to go anywhere in the middle of it.
I'm sorry, Connie.
I got to make sure I don't have to go anywhere in the middle of it.
There you go. There you go. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.